So I have a problem. My problem is that I can't read my favorite genre anymore. I've been an avid fantasy reader and sci-fi secondarily for my entire life. I've read hundreds and hundreds of fantasy and sci-fi books. I read every single day. I've always been a fantasy reader, and I always judged critical readers. As someone who read so much and got so much pleasure and enjoyment out of it, whenever I would speak to people who didn't read as much as me and who were critical, and who if when I would recommend them a book, they would say, "Oh, I couldn't get into it. I thought that it was a little bit YA, or the prose weren't there, or something like that," or just generally being critical, I would always quietly judge them. I would think, this person's not doesn't really get it. Just read for the enjoyment of it. Just read for the entertainment. Why be critical of something to be critical? Why not enjoy something if you can just enjoy it? And that was always my take. And I would have quite critical thoughts in my mind when I was reading books if they weren't perfect, but I would just sort of let them go and enjoy my time there and my escapism, because reading is sort of my main form of entertainment. And I am really struggling to read fantasy books these days. And the reason for that is that I branched out. I started reading a bunch more literary fiction and classics, and it's been a big fly in the ointment here. I genuinely didn't know it was going to happen, and I've tried to pick up multiple fantasy books, the highest recommended things on BookTube, because I'm real dialed in on fantasy BookTube, and they are all, as far as I'm concerned, not very good. I haven't been able to be interested at all. I read one called The Poet Empress that was like really lauded as this amazing new 5-star read that's like, it's the new Sword of Kaigen, which I loved pre my foray. I wonder if I'd love it quite so much now. And I read it and I just thought that that book was boring. I thought it wasn't very imaginative. I didn't really think that the prose were great. I thought it was predictable. It just felt like YA romantasy to me, except they decided to, spoilers, not do the ending and do the ending. But it's still wish fulfillment fantasy as far as like I felt when I was reading it. And I was really excited at the beginning, but anyway. The point is, this is a real bummer. I really loved how much simple pleasure I got out of this reading, and how pure it was for me to just sit down and read a book and be unjudgmental and have a bloody good time in the world, and really be just dragged along by my nose and unable to put things down. And it may just be because I've reached a new stage in my life. I'm a little bit older now. My circumstances are different. I've had some more major events that, the depth in these books is more compelling to me than the entertainment value, I guess. Although some of them are still really entertaining. But every time I try to pick one up now, I start reading and immediately the prose aren't there. The depth isn't there. The realism doesn't feel like it's there. And I'm not speaking about realism like fantasy needs to be a real world. I mean, it can be as fantastical as possible, but when the characters feel real, when the decisions feel real, when the consequences feel like they actually exist, that's what I mean by realism. So yeah, I've branched out and I'm struggling to go back. When I finish my heavy books, I'm trying to go and read fantasy because I have this desire to go into a fantasy world and enjoy myself and have the escapism. And every time I pick one up, I'm unable to actually have my suspension of disbelief be sufficient to actually enjoy the read. And I would say it's reminiscent of an issue I have personally with television and movies, where all the time when I'm watching TV and film, I can't really watch it because all I'm watching is an actor acting or a director acting, and I see the hand behind the art too prevalently to actually be able to enjoy it and be immersed, and it breaks my immersion and I can't watch it. And that's like almost all television and movies, with the exception of really exceptional ones. And I feel like I'm getting there with books now, and it's so annoying because I don't want to be picky. I don't want to be critical. I just want to be an enjoyer. I want to be able to enjoy simple things, and I've lost it. It's gone. It seems like yeah, it's a real bummer. And anyway, I guess I'll move on. It's a thing I've been frustrated with for a little while now. And on the other hand, which I haven't mentioned, is I'm absolutely loving these other books. I'm really enjoying the branching out. I'm really enjoying reading them. I just wish it hadn't come at the cost of losing another kind of pleasure that I really enjoy. Let me know if you've ever experienced something like this, if you're also an older person who's gone through the same kind of thing, or if you think you have a fantasy read that's really going to work for me, or sci-fi, or whatever it may be. Yeah, commiserations to me, I guess.